Well, it's been a while. It's been about, I don't know, 6 months or something since I took this thing apart and finally had all the seals and gaskets and stuff come in. And I'm going to try to get it together today. The video is going to probably be shorter than the last one because 30 minutes is way too long. And as you can tell, I've done a good job of keeping the table clear. Everything's still really well organized. All the parts are pretty much right where I wanted them to be. Everything, you keep it real clean. You don't want to get a bunch of junk in there. Dog hair's okay, that's fine. A little bit of dust and rocks don't matter, but for the most part, clean. Keep it clean. And have all your bolts marked and everything so you know exactly where they go back. Write down some notes. Bury it with other stuff and other projects. This shouldn't take too long in the video. I want to keep it under about 10 minutes, but I do need to get this done. And I don't know if we'll get to try it out today because it's freezing in Oregon and all our pipes are wrapped up now, so we'll see what happens. All right. So first thing, we gotta get every mating surface cleaned up nice. So this side's already done. You can see there's nothing really there left, and I gotta do this right here. So I use a mixture of a gasket scraper and a little light wire wheel and a little bit of emery cloth. And whatever you do, try not to gouge into anything, of course, and don't wear the surface till it's to the point where it's not, flat anymore. So scrape as much as you can. Get in there after that's scraped. See this spot here? That kind of, so that shines up like that right there, and that's, you can feel that's a nice clean surface. And then we're going to pop this output shaft seal out and put this new one in. You want to know, generally it's always the spring goes to the inside. Pop that in with a hammer. The right size socket. Assembling the head here, to make sure all the way around that all these surfaces are touching and there's no gaps or anything. But if you try to tighten this down and something's not quite mated right, you crack your head, and in this case you have no reason to rebuild the engine at that point. So you put it all together, tighten these guys across from each other, just snug them up a little bit at a time till they're all kind of the same amount of tension, just a little bit, and then torque to spec. So my torque spec says we're going to start at 9, go across, then we're going to move up to 18 and finish it off. It's really not that much because this is all an aluminum block. Barely, you can't even hear it click. Alright, bump up to 18. And now we're going to go to our original problem, the decompression device. Just put the spring around backwards. It's a good spring, should last a while. Pop this guy back in here and remember to line up, you know, your timing marks. One tooth off, that's not going to work. There we go. So I've got the lower case on now, and I had a little trouble getting it to sit down. If you ever do have that problem, don't just go hammering on it. I ended up just turning the engine over, making sure everything's still running smoothly, and eventually it just clicked right down. So be careful when putting all this stuff together. You really don't want it to crack, because like I said before, in this case, for the amount of money that's in it and how much it's worth, it's not worth anything at that point. So when you're torquing these down, they are also another M13 bolt, and so they have the same torque spec. You go down to 9, go all the way around, cross pattern, and then go up to 18, cross pattern. And then finally, these small guys right here, and it says that you take them first up to 4 pounds and then to 7 pounds, so real gentle on them. Okay, and so now, see, we got our valves assembled, and we're going to adjust them right now real quick. Alright, there we go, and then over here, there we go, and they're done. That's pretty much all there is to it. No, not really, actually. So what I do, rotate the engine over. Let's say we're going to do the intake right here. Watch that exhaust valve go down. Wait till it starts popping back up again. Right about there. You can see intake's loose. Check with the feeler gauge. I've already adjusted it, so it's right. What you're going to do is basically bring this down to your feeler gauge adjustment. You're going to bring it back a little bit, like a quarter turn, before you start tightening the lock nut down. Once you start tightening the lock nut down, keep checking with your feeler gauge, and you'll see eventually if it gets locked and it won't move, then you know you need to back your tensioner back down a little bit before you tighten up the lock. It's hard to kind of explain and show on a video, but there's a lot of other videos on how to adjust valves, so go watch one of them. Well, got it going. Still think there's a little bit of a fuel hiccup in there. Might have to clean the line out a little bit more. But she's running.